There's a county in Florida where condo sales dropped 12.9% year over year in June 2025, where active listings surged 36% to over 13,000 units, where months of inventory now sits at 14.1 months compared to a balanced market of 6 to 9 months, and where the median condo price has dropped 6.1% in a single year. The county is Miami-Dade, and it's not even the worst on this list. Across Florida, the condo market has been quietly collapsing since 2022, and the reasons have been documented in legislative filings, structural engineering reports, insurance carrier data, and association financial disclosures. According to Nick Gurley's housing analysis, Florida condo values have slipped 9.9% over the past 12 months, with prominent markets including Palm Beach, Miami-Dade, and Tampa all seeing substantial declines. According to Newsweek reporting, the median sale price of a townhouse or condo in Florida in May 2025 was $310,000, down 6.1% year over year. According to industry analysis published in early 2026, 92% of Florida's major condo markets are declining, with statewide condo inventory at 13.2 months of supply. And underneath those numbers, the structural conditions have not stabilized. Senate Bill 4D, signed in 2022, following the Surfside Champlain Towers South collapse, required milestone structural inspections for all buildings, 3 or more stories that are 30-plus years old. Senate Bill 154 in 2023 clarified the requirements. House Bill 913, signed in June 2025, adjusted reserve funding timing while preserving the core mandates. Approximately 900,000 condo units in Florida are in buildings over 30 years old and subject to these mandates. And in 10 Florida condo markets, the math has tipped from premium retirement destination to no buyer wants the liability. In this countdown, we're exposing 10 Florida condo markets no one is buying in 2026. Not the cliché version where Florida real estate is collapsing. The real one. The version where specific buildings face six-figure special assessments, where Mediterranean Village in Aventura levied up to $400,000 per unit, where the Cricket Club in North Miami assessed up to $134,000 per unit, where 40% of Florida condo owners have faced special assessments in the last 3 years, and where the buyer pool has effectively disappeared for buildings without documentation. Subscribe before your Florida condo's milestone inspection results arrive. Like the video if you've ever watched a Florida condo sit on the market for 14 months and known the reason wasn't the price. Now you'll know the actual structural conditions. Let's break it down. Number 10. North Miami, the Cricket Club building. The North Miami condo, where residents received special assessments as high as $134,000 per unit in 2024, where the building age triggered milestone inspection requirements, where the special assessment shocked owners who had been paying low HOA dues for decades, and where the resale market has effectively collapsed. The Cricket Club residents received special assessments up to $134,000 per unit in 2024. The assessment was driven by structural deterioration revealed in the building's milestone inspection. The building had been operating with reserve funding levels well below what Florida's 2022 SB 4D requirements would demand. The Cricket Club's resale market has effectively collapsed as prospective buyers refuse to purchase into a building with such substantial unpaid structural liability. North Miami's broader condo market has been absorbing similar dynamics across multiple older buildings. The Cricket Club condo reality is that the building's structural deterioration was not unique. It was the predictable result of decades of deferred maintenance enabled by Florida's pre-Surfside regulatory framework that allowed associations to vote to waive reserve funding contributions. The Surfside collapse changed that. The milestone inspections have revealed similar patterns across hundreds of Florida buildings. What residents notice in North Miami is that the buyer pool for older condo buildings has narrowed substantially. Sharp contrast, North Miami and Coral Gables are both Miami-Dade municipalities. Coral Gables has a higher concentration of newer construction and well-funded associations. North Miami has a higher concentration of buildings in the 30 to 50-year age range subject to milestone inspection. Same county, very different condo market trajectories. The Cricket Club's experience reflects the broader pattern of older Miami-Dade condo buildings, absorbing the consequences of decades of deferred maintenance that the 2022 reforms have now made financially visible. Number 9. St. Petersburg, the Pinellas County city where Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton arrived 14 days apart in fall 2024, where Pinellas County lost 12,000 residents between July 2024 and July 2025, where condo HOA assessments after the hurricanes have been crushing, and where the buyer pool has collapsed across multiple condo segments. Pinellas County lost 12,000 residents between July 2024 and July 2025, the second highest county-level decline in America after Los Angeles. Tampa Bay region absorbed combined damages exceeding $50 billion from Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton in fall 2024. St. Petersburg condo HOA assessments after the hurricane recovery have commonly exceeded $10,000 to $15,000 per unit. Tampa Bay Case-Shiller Condo Index has been declining for over 13 consecutive months. St. Petersburg condo segment faces double pressure from hurricane recovery costs and SB4D structural inspection requirements. The St. Petersburg condo reality is the most concentrated climate and regulatory pressure in Florida. The hurricanes have intensified. The HOA assessments have compressed. The reserve mandates have arrived simultaneously. The result is a condo market where prospective buyers face structural assessments, hurricane recovery assessments, and elevated insurance premiums in a single transaction. What residents notice in St. Petersburg is that the cumulative cost structure of buying into a condo has separated from the income levels of typical retirement buyers. Sharp contrast. St. Petersburg and Tampa are both Tampa Bay metro cities. Tampa's single-family market has held value better than St. Petersburg's condo segment. St. Petersburg condo prices have declined while Tampa single-family has remained relatively stable. Same metro region, very different submarket trajectories. St. Petersburg's condo market reflects the compounding effect of climate, regulatory, and insurance pressures arriving simultaneously on a market segment that historically depended on retiree demand. Number 8. Sarasota-Bradenton, the Gulf Coast metro where condo values have declined meaningfully through 2025 and 2026, where Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton damage has compressed buyer enthusiasm, where SB4D inspection requirements have produced special assessments across multiple buildings, and where the Gulf Coast retirement migration brand has been disrupted. Sarasota-Bradenton condo segment has experienced sustained year-over-year price declines through 2025. Sarasota-Bradenton corridor home prices have declined approximately 7 to 9% in the year ending Q1 2026. Sarasota condo HOA assessments have followed regional patterns of structural inspection-driven increases. Sarasota's Gulf Coast retirement migration model has been more affected by climate-driven insurance pressure than Atlantic coast markets. Sarasota's condo inventory has expanded substantially as sellers have entered the market faster than buyers. The Sarasota condo reality is that the metro's reputation as a refined retirement destination has been compressed by the same structural pressures affecting other Gulf coast markets. The hurricanes have intensified, the insurance has been disrupted, the condo reserve mandates have produced special assessments, the buyer demographic that historically anchored Sarasota's condo market has been more selective. What residents notice in Sarasota is that the previously consistent year-round demand from retirees has thinned, with buyers running the structural math more carefully than they did in 2022. Sharp contrast. Sarasota and Naples are both Gulf Coast retirement destinations. Naples has experienced similar but slightly different dynamics due to its higher proportion of cash buyers. Sarasota has been more exposed to mid-range condo buyer hesitation. Same coast, slightly different buyer profiles. Sarasota's condo market reflects the broader Gulf Coast retirement migration disruption that has been documented in census migration data, insurance market filings, and condo segment pricing data. Number 7. Naples Marco Island, the Southwest Florida destination where active inventory surged 36.1% in March 2025 to the highest level since before the pandemic, where the market shifted decisively to a buyer's market, where condo values declined alongside the broader Gulf Coast pattern, and where the cash buyer base has not been sufficient to absorb the inventory increase. Naples Marco Island active inventory surged 36.1% in March 2025 to 7,483 homes, up from 5,500 in March 2024. Naples market officially shifted to buyer's market conditions for the first time in several years. Naples condo segment has experienced sustained price declines through 2025 and into 2026. Naples Marco Island corridor home prices have declined approximately 7 to 9% in the year ending Q1 2026. Naples luxury condo market has held value better than mid-range and entry-level condo segments. The Naples condo reality is more nuanced than the Cape Coral or Sarasota pattern. Naples has a higher cash buyer base. Naples has more international demand. Naples luxury condos have held value better than the median segments. The mid-range and entry-level condo segments, however, have absorbed the broader Gulf Coast pricing pressure. What residents notice in Naples is that the bifurcation between luxury and mid-range condo markets has accelerated, with the entry-level retirement buyer increasingly priced out by total cost of ownership rather than purchase price alone. Sharp contrast. Naples and Cape Coral are both Southwest Florida coastal markets. Cape Coral has more single-family inventory. Naples has more condo concentration. Same region, slightly different market structures. Naples's condo market reflects the bifurcation patterns that have characterized luxury Florida real estate in 2025 and 2026, with high-end maintaining premium, while mid-range absorbs structural cost increases. Hey, before we get into the bottom six, the Florida condo markets we're about to cover are the ones where the structural pressures have been most aggressively documented, where the special assessments have been the most extreme, and where the buyer pool has effectively narrowed. If this list has been useful, hit subscribe, because the next one we're working on is 10 American cities where the property tax bill just doubled, and you'll want the names. Like the video if you've ever watched a Florida condo sit on the market for over a year and known the reason wasn't the listing price. Drop a comment if you own a Florida condo facing a special assessment or are trying to sell one. Real conversations happen in the comments, and I read them. Now, let's keep going. Number 6. Fort Lauderdale, Broward County. The Atlantic Coast county where Broward condo inventory has expanded substantially, where the SB 4D mandate affects hundreds of older Atlantic Coast buildings, where insurance premiums have compounded with HOA increases, and where the buyer pool for buildings 30-plus years old has narrowed sharply. Broward County condo inventory has expanded substantially through 2025 and early 2026. Broward has a high concentration of buildings 30-plus years old, subject to milestone inspection requirements. Broward condo HOA fees have followed the broader Florida pattern, with insurance components averaging $377 per month. Broward's second home market has faced pressure from the same structural conditions affecting Miami-Dade. Broward median condo prices have declined alongside the broader South Florida pattern. The Broward County condo reality is that the county's Atlantic Coast condo stock has absorbed the same SB 4D and HB 913 pressures as Miami-Dade, but with less luxury cash buyer absorption. Hollywood, Pompano Beach, and Fort Lauderdale older condo stock have been particularly affected. What residents notice in Broward is that the buyer pool for resale condos in older buildings has narrowed substantially, with prospective buyers either avoiding the segment entirely or demanding discounts that reflect the structural assessment risk. Sharp contrast. Broward and Palm Beach are both Atlantic Coast counties. Palm Beach has a higher concentration of luxury cash buyers absorbing inventory. Broward has more mid-range condo stock, more exposed to financing-related buyer hesitation. Same coast, slightly different buyer profiles. Broward's condo market reflects the broader Atlantic Coast pattern of older buildings absorbing structural cost increases, while the buyer pool has narrowed to those who can absorb total cost of ownership, including special assessment. Number 5. Palm Beach County. The Atlantic Coast county where condo values have declined 9.9% over the past 12 months according to housing analysis, where the single-family market has hit new highs while the condo segment has declined, where 88% of 1M+ properties are purchased in cash, and where the bifurcation between luxury single-family and mid-range condo has been the most extreme in Florida. Palm Beach County condo values declined approximately 9.9% over the past 12 months. Palm Beach single-family medians hit new highs with year-over-year increases of 7.7%. Palm Beach County cash buyers represent 88% of $1 million plus property transactions. Palm Beach County's older condo stock faces the same SB4D pressure as the rest of South Florida. Palm Beach County's condo HOA assessments have followed the broader pattern of structural inspection-driven increases. The Palm Beach condo reality is the most extreme bifurcation in Florida. Luxury single-family residential has continued to appreciate. Condo segment has declined. The two patterns coexist within the same county because the buyer profiles are fundamentally different. What residents notice in Palm Beach is that the gap between luxury single-family appreciation and mid-range condo decline has widened to levels that affect retirement planning differently depending on the housing type. Sharp contrast, Palm Beach and Miami-Dade are both South Florida counties. Miami-Dade has more mid-range condo concentration absorbing the SB4D pressure. Palm Beach has stronger luxury single-family demand offsetting condo decline. Same region, very different market dynamics. Palm Beach's condo market reflects the bifurcation that has come to define Florida real estate in 2026, with luxury holding value while mid-range condos absorb the cumulative structural costs of compliance with post-Surfside regulations. Number 4. Tampa Bay Metro, Hillsborough County. The Gulf Coast Metro, where the Tampa Case-Shiller Index has posted 13 consecutive months of annual declines through November 2025, where the condo segment has been the most distressed submarket, where Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton compounded SB4D pressure, and where the buyer pool has narrowed across condo segments. Tampa Case-Shiller Index posted 13 consecutive months of annual declines through November 2025, down approximately 3.9% year-over-year. Tampa Bay region absorbed combined hurricane damages exceeding $50 billion in fall 2024. Tampa Bay condo HOA assessments have followed the broader Florida pattern of structural inspection-driven increases. Hillsborough County condo inventory has expanded substantially through 2025. Tampa condo segment has been the most distressed submarket of the Tampa Bay region. The Tampa condo reality is the combination of climate-driven assessment pressure and structural regulatory pressure that has narrowed the buyer pool for resale condos significantly. The hurricanes have produced HOA assessments. The SB4D milestones have produced separate reserve assessments. The combined effect has been concentrated impact on retirement age condo buyers. What residents notice in Tampa Bay is that the cumulative cost of buying into a condo, after insurance, HOA, special assessments, and ongoing reserve contributions, has reached levels that price out the median retirement buyer. Sharp contrast. Tampa and Orlando are both Central Florida metros. Orlando has less hurricane exposure and lower concentration of older coastal condo stock. Tampa has been more affected by the combined climate and regulatory pressure. Same state, different geographic exposures. Tampa's condo market reflects the most extensive documented decline of a major Florida metro in 2025 and into 2026, with the combined pressures producing the longest sustained year-over-year decline of any major Florida market. Number 3. Aventura, Mediterranean Village Building. The Aventura building, where residents received special assessments of up to $400,000 per unit, where the building age triggered substantial reserve funding requirements, where the resale market collapsed entirely for owners trying to sell before paying the assessment, and where the case became a symbol of the post-Surfside condo crisis. Mediterranean Village in Aventura assessed residents up to $400,000 per unit. The assessment was driven by structural deterioration revealed in the milestone inspection. Several owners faced foreclosure or distressed sale conditions due to inability to pay the assessment. Mediterranean Village's resale market collapsed entirely as prospective buyers refused to purchase into a building with such substantial unpaid liability. The case became widely reported as a symbol of the post-Surfside condo crisis in Florida. The Mediterranean Village reality is that the building's structural deterioration was severe but not unprecedented. Multiple Florida buildings of similar age and condition have produced similar assessment magnitudes. The $400,000 figure represents the upper end of what milestone inspections have revealed about deferred maintenance in older Florida condo stock. What residents notice in Aventura is that the broader market has absorbed Mediterranean Village's experience as a cautionary example, with buyers now demanding extensive documentation of structural condition and reserve funding before committing to purchase. Sharp contrast. Aventura and Bal Harbour are both North Miami-Dade affluent communities. Bal Harbour's newer luxury buildings have absorbed the SB 4D requirements with less assessment pressure. Aventura's older buildings have been more exposed. Same general area, very different building stock exposures. Mediterranean Village's experience reflects the most extreme assessment case documented in Florida and has fundamentally changed how prospective condo buyers evaluate older Florida buildings. Number 2. Cape Coral Fort Myers. The Southwest Florida metro, where Adam data shows the median home price fell 9% year-over-year to $341,250 in Q1 2026, where Hurricane Ian rebuild fatigue has continued through 2025, where condo inventory has expanded substantially, and where the investor exit has compounded the structural pressures. Cape Coral Fort Myers metro median home price fell 9% year-over-year to $341,250 in Q1 2026, according to Adam data. Cape Coral and Lehigh Acres markets, which absorbed heavy investor and short-term rental speculation during the boom, are now among the weakest in Florida. Hurricane Ian rebuild fatigue has continued through 2025, with insurance and contractor availability remaining constrained. Cape Coral condo inventory has expanded substantially as investors exit and second home buyers reconsider. Cape Coral median condo prices have declined alongside the broader Gulf Coast pattern. The Cape Coral Fort Myers reality is the most extensively documented declining Florida metro of 2025 and 2026. The investor exit has been substantial. The hurricane recovery has been prolonged. The structural pressures have compounded. What residents notice in Cape Coral is that the boom-era expectations of consistent appreciation have given way to the new reality of structural decline that has affected condo segments most severely. Sharp contrast. Cape Coral and Naples are both Southwest Florida coastal markets. Naples luxury has held value better. Cape Coral mid-range and investor-heavy segments have declined more sharply. Same region, very different market profiles. Cape Coral's condo market reflects the most extreme documented decline of any major Florida metro, with the combined pressures of climate, regulation, and investor exit producing year-over-year median declines that the state's broader narrative has only begun to acknowledge. Number 1. Miami-Dade County, broader market. The South Florida county, where condo sales fell 12.9% year-over-year in June 2025, where active listings surged 36% to over 13,000 units, where months of inventory hit 14.1 months, where 40% of Florida condo owners have faced special assessments in the last 3 years, and where the broader condo market has been the most extensively documented collapse of a major American real estate segment in modern history. Miami-Dade condo sales fell 12.9% year-over-year in June 2025, down from 1,085 to 945 transactions. Miami-Dade active condo listings surged 36.07% year-over-year to 13,046 in June 2025. Miami-Dade months of inventory for existing condos sits at 14.1 months, well above the 6 to 9 month balanced market range. Miami-Dade HOA fees and high-rises jumped nearly $500 per month in 2025. Miami-Dade insurance component averages $377 per month, with professional management fees rising 40% plus. The Miami-Dade condo reality is the most extensively documented major American real estate market collapse outside of California's coastal wildfire-affected regions. The structural pressures have compounded across multiple cost categories. The buyer pool has narrowed despite the substantial cash buyer base. The international demand has not been sufficient to absorb the supply increase. The combined effect has produced the most extensive inventory accumulation in the modern Miami-Dade condo market. What residents notice in Miami-Dade is that the structural conditions of buying into a condo, after total cost of ownership including insurance, HOA, special assessments, and ongoing reserve contributions, have separated from the retirement buyer income structures that historically anchored the market. Sharp contrast. Miami-Dade and Tampa Bay are both major Florida metros. Tampa has fewer luxury cash buyers absorbing inventory. Miami-Dade has more international cash demand, but also higher absolute price points. Same state, very different buyer profiles. Miami-Dade's condo market collapse reflects the cumulative consequences of decades of policy decisions, deferred maintenance, and the post-Surfside regulatory framework that has finally forced the structural cost of older Florida condos into visible market pricing. So there it is. 10 Florida condo markets. No one is buying any more in 2026, on the public record, in Miami Association of Realtors data, in Adam Market reports, in Florida Office of Insurance Regulation filings, in Association Financial Disclosures, in milestone inspection reports filed with municipal authorities. Markets where Senate Bill 4D and House Bill 914 have produced six-figure special assessments. Markets where Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton compose. Indeed, existing pressures. Markets where 40% of condo owners have faced special assessments in the past 3 years. Markets where buildings 30-plus years old face documented structural liability. Markets where the international cash buyer base has been insufficient to absorb the inventory increase. Markets where the cumulative cost of ownership has separated from the retirement buyer demographic that historically anchored demand. The Florida condo markets where pricing has held value in 2026 share specific characteristics. They are newer construction or luxury buildings with strong reserve funding. They are buildings with completed milestone inspections showing no major structural deficiencies. They are buildings in markets with high cash buyer concentration. They are buildings with HOA fees below the regional averages. The 10 markets on this list have different combinations of these pressures, but the cumulative pattern is the same. The buyer pool has narrowed. The seller pool has expanded. The math has shifted faster than the broader Florida narrative has acknowledged. The reason no one buys condos in Florida anymore in these 10 markets is because the structural conditions of buying into Florida condo ownership have changed permanently. The post-Surfside reforms have made deferred maintenance financially visible. The insurance market has been disrupted. The hurricane intensity has compounded. The reserve mandates have arrived, and the buyers who would have purchased condos in 2020 or 2021 are running the numbers and choosing to either purchase newer construction, switch to single-family, or relocate to other states entirely. If this list helped, share it with the friend who's been thinking about buying a Florida condo as a retirement investment. Hit subscribe, because next we're breaking down 10 American cities where the property tax bill just doubled, and you'll want to see if your city is on the list. Drop a comment if you own a Florida condo facing a special assessment or are trying to sell one. And remember, the worst real estate collapse isn't the loud one. It's the quiet one, where 14.1 months of inventory accumulates. The median price drops 6.1% in a year. And the buildings that defined Florida retirement for 40 years sit on the market because the structural math finally caught up with the marketing.